welcome back to the Ben and Wrench YouTube channel. So, on this How Tuesday, we got a fun little adventure for you today. So, we got ourselves another LS, right? Who would have thought? That's just what we do around here. So, I got a special project coming on the channel today. Our buddy Kylie dropped off something kind of unique, all right? Some will love it, some will hate it. It reminds me of pushing around a Hot Wheels car. Wait till you see this thing. I'm pretty excited. Don't throw out too much hate. Definitely very unique, but cool. So this particular engine we'll go over here in a little bit. We've had a freaking heat wave from all hell up here in Michigan, and we've had 90+ degree days, and today is going to be one of them. But the project is pretty dirty. Unfortunately, it got dropped off when it was raining out, and I lived out about 5 miles of country crap back roads. So let's go outside and take a look and see what this thing is. Very unique. You ready? You ready? What in the hell is this thing? Check this unit out, guys. This is a 1968 Camaro. Somebody's dream hot rod, and the new owners, they love this thing. This thing was built about 30 years ago. Definitely got some wide body effects going on. I mean, can you see the whole, you know, pushing it around as a kid like a little matchbox? It's got the leg burners on it. I mean, look at the 375s on this unit. I mean, that's a freaking baby's arm right there, you know what I'm saying? Now, she is dirty. She is dirty. We talked about that. That's why we're gonna wash her before we bring her in the shop. So what you're gonna see today go live is this unit get scrub-a-dub-dubbed, polished straight up, because we can't have a dirty car we're working on the channel. That just not, it wouldn't be right, especially paying homage to this 1968 Z28. You know, we've been talking about the manual transmission thing, and I think that's just all we work on anymore. I mean, look at this. We got a freaking 4-speed, guys, and we got the footprint gas pedal. Fire extinguisher, no back seats, got some 6x9s. This thing is a unit. Very unique, but cool. So, a little backstory. Guy ended up selling the car to my friend. I guess he's gotten up there in age, right? And he's had some issues and cannot drive a manual transmission vehicle anymore. So they ended up buying this thing out of his barn after it sat for, well, nearly 20 years in his barn with a brand new 383 stroker. Well, this is gonna be his wife's car. So the plan is, you know, easy to drive, that kind of thing, right? So they were out wheeling this 383 with about 400 miles on this engine, and it dropped a valve. Guys, it can happen. It sucks. Very expensive engine, down the gutter. Let me pop the hood for you real fast. There she is. So she's got all the old school racer patina, got the old Hot Rod magazine. I mean, look at them stickers. How vintage is that and cool is that? The old Comp Cam sticker. Look at the freaking super coil. Tell me that ain't a blast from the past. I mean, it does have an Optima in there, but I'm assuming my buddy put that in there. So this is a manual brake car too, but power steering, and she's a 4-speed. So here's the problem. It's got the nice little cowl induction scoop they put on there. Obviously that was definitely added on for sure. But look what happened. This dude left the chat. I'll drop a picture in when they pulled the valve cover off. The retainer broke in half, which is freaking crazy to me. I've been around a lot of engines my whole life, and I've never seen a retainer go split right in half. But she is the old, for what it's worth, I hope the head's not destroyed, because she is the old vintage camelbacks, baby. You know, the old double hump heads. So that's a vintage racer's dream. If you're watching for LS stuff, that's the old school shit right there. All right, so they did widen the wheels, somebody did, or maybe you can buy them like this. Correct me in the description, but you can see where this was widened for sure. It's like the old rally wheels, and then obviously the back are very, very custom here. Same thing though, you can see where there is a line where they're welded. Now I don't know, and also I was told, I'm not a first-gen Camaro guy. I mean, I love the cars by all means, but I've never had one. I'm not familiar really. But I was told by Pops, my father-in-law there, that these marker lights indicate these are 69 fenders. but the car is a 68. So let me know, because there's the marker there. And then we got the rear quarter markers as well. So now this is a driver, guys. This is a driver. So you'll notice there is flaws. This is meant to be something they can enjoy with the family and do burnouts. So I don't know with them hogs on there, but we're gonna try. But I mean, there is some issues. Obviously, we're missing the trimmer on the windows. You know, there is a little bit of rust here and there. But you're also talking a very old car here that's still on the streets. So love it or hate it, he's gonna be a fun one, guys. So you're gonna see me polish this gem real quick, and then you're gonna watch me build the engine for this right in there. Just waiting for a couple parts, you know, because some guy here left the cylinder heads in the wife's truck. I just picked them up from the machine shop. So let's get to washing. Well, now that she looks like a new one, it's time to build the heartbeat for this thing. So we showed you a little glimpse of what it was with the old plastic trash bag. So let's pull her off there and we'll show you what we got. Let's get in the shop real quick. All right, so this is just an NA build. So we're not going completely crazy. We're not doing ARP head studs or none of that unnecessary stuff in this particular situation. So we are going Velcro, right? So we got some head bolts, just a stocking number. So this is Gen 4, so ES72390. Got a rear main seal set for the rear cover, of course. Got a timing cover gasket and a front seal, just from some new old stock. And we are going with just the Felpro 26192 head gaskets. Like I said, just an NA build, be something for his wife to cruise around and pound the streets. Valve cover gaskets. Of course, we gotta have the noisemaker. So we actually went with the Elgin E1841P. Now, if you guys are Sloppy Mechanics fans, everybody knows the E1840P cam, right? The Sloppy Stage 2, the one that he made famous for what it was. So this is the one step above that. So this is a 595 lift, where that one was 585. So Stage 3.
Dude's biggest lady I've ever seen. Ah, that's a huge bitch.
Obviously new trays. We got ourselves a brand new Melling M295 oil pump, of course, and a box of new lifters. So let's take the bag off, because that's really what you want to see. So this is a Gen 4 L96. This would be a 07 to 19. Full float rod motor, 20 over, 10 on the rods and mains, and she is fresh. Oh yeah, looking good. She is waiting to be fired up here soon. But obviously we gotta put it together first. So basically what you see here is an iron block 6-liter dished piston, factory setup here, 20 over, remanufactured GM motor. Keep it simple. So it is OEM gap, nothing crazy there. And something unique I wanted to show you. If you're a Gen 4 LS guy, usually these are drilled out, right? Well, some of the iron 6-liter blocks are not. So we don't have to worry about plugging those off. You've seen us pound the old tapered roller bearing in there. Ain't gotta worry about it on this one. She's already got the new barbell in the back. Their cover's already on. We do have to put the rear main seal on, which we showed you that fancy tool we did when we did my wife's Camaro. So gotta go ahead and get our retainer off and stick the cam in. So let's get to it. Just remember to always inspect your shaft, you know. Honestly, any of these things here, I've seen a brand new Melling cam years ago. I used to sell auto parts by profession back in the day. And the one lobe was square. It had a complete flat spot, like it just got cut right off there. So for what it's worth, yeah, we know it's new, but always look at it, right? Check your lobes, all that stuff. We got new cam bearings in it. I know, of course. But just so you guys are unaware, this is a tone ring for a Gen 3. A Gen 3 obviously is 99, technically 97 to 06, 07-ish, which was a 24X crank, 1X cam. We're using it obviously in a Gen 4, but we're gonna get a special conversion, and I'll get you the part number here soon, sprocket for the cam to give us our 4-pole, but you have a 3-bolt hole, you know, sprocket. So let's get her installed. Something I wanted to show you real quick, so let's get to the live action. I'll make sure you put some lube on your camshaft.
There's always time for lubricant.
Alright, so moment of truth. Let's see if she fits. Hey! Now don't bang up your bearings either, honestly. You wanna go in gently. Little tech tip for when you're actually doing this in-car, if you use the water pump bolts, them thread right in and they give you plenty of leverage. But we're doing this on the engine stand, and I don't have any water pump bolts handy, so. There we go. All right, so something you want to do, make sure you always blow these holes out. When it comes to any of these, this thing came from the machine shop, so obviously there could be contaminants, whatever, dirt, oil, anything. So make sure you give her a quick cleaning. So we're gonna get our retainer real quick, set this unit on there. So obviously this is one of those things you wanna make sure you're replacing. So that is a O-ring, and if you didn't have that on there, or you put it on backwards, or it was bad, or whatever, you're just gonna hemorrhage oil pressure, and that's not what you want. Get yourself a little red Loctite. Don't go crazy though, you don't want it to drip down behind the cam or anything like that, so, and just send them home. No, I'm just kidding. So the biggest thing is you can actually split this. It's pretty weak, and it's a pretty light torque. Let me get you the spec real fast, but yeah, definitely this one here, especially it's oblong, it'll just, you know. All right, 11 foot-pounds, which is not a lot. I always like a little paint mark on there, at least that way you know you tighten the damn thing. Lifter time. So, we got new trays. Always replace these things. I had one on a 2019 Silverado. It turned, right? These things wear out. It twisted the lifter, wiped the can out, junk, right? We don't want to be those guys. So, brand new General Motors, because obviously that's the way to go with these things. So obviously we lubed up our cam heavy. We did soak the lifters. Is it necessarily a big thing to do that? It's preference. The one thing that I like to do is just put a little bit on the bore of the, you know, or on the outside of the lifter, because the bore is dry, you know. So that way we can put her in, because we want to get the heads on. We don't actually have the cam gear yet. I'm waiting for that to get here, so we can put that on for you. Well, and for me, of course. All right, just a little more Loctite. And obviously these are for our lifter guide trays. Make sure you send them home. It's 106 inch-pounds. So we got them all buttoned up. Don't forget to blow out your head bolt holes too. See all the crap blowing out of them? I'll see if I can find a picture, but very good way of cracking a block if I get keeping water or anything in there. All right, so cylinder heads, we're ready. So what we got, these are 317s, these are just stock 6-liter heads, but we do have them loaded with some Pack 1218 springs. This is a pump gas build. We want it to rip, you know what I mean? But we don't need 15-to-1 compression, all right? So this is gonna work out really well. for what we're doing with this, being a street build. Now this thing had, like I said earlier, had old 383 in it, but you guys know as well as I do. We slam a 6-liter in it, cam 6-liter.
You have them spinning tires, do you?
Sky's the limit, you know, so it's gonna be glorious. So let's slam these heads on. I'll show you the head gaskets like we talked about. We got our Felpros because they are directional and you don't wanna switch them, you don't wanna switch them around, it wouldn't be good. So let me grab them real fast and show you what's up. So with your LS head gasket, so remember, they don't really have any sort of coolant flowing through the intake. So the only coolant flow is across your steam port line on the front of the head, or if you have an old style that hits all 4 corners. But if you look at the head gasket, you'll see there's 2 holes back there. That goes to the back of the engine. And you have these 2 holes here, and it does say front. It does distinguish front and rear. You don't want to mix that up because by all means, she's going to overheat. Because right here, you'll notice there is no hole here, but there is there. So that's obviously direct feed from what? That is your water pump inlet. That goes to your head. That's what that's there for. You block that off, well, you better have a solid block. I mean, then it wouldn't matter, I guess. But for us, it does. Well, let's get to putting it on. Obviously, make sure your surface is prepped. We blew the holes out. We're good to go. We torqued them. Like I said, I always dab some paint marks on there just in case you get distracted. You know, I got little Brian running around and the rest of the kiddos harassing me, so it's always nice to have reassurance. All right, we got our surface all cleaned up, ready to go. And here's where the fun begins. Just drop all these guys in there. This is my favorite part. It's gonna make everybody cringe. No, obviously don't just blast them down. No, I'm doing that just to run them down, and then we're obviously gonna torque those. So, well, as far as you know anyways. All right, so you're gonna wanna hit all these big ones here at 22 foot-pounds, your 11mm bolts. Now, Gen 4 are all the same length, so that torque is different than a Gen 3, so make sure you're paying attention to your head bolt length and your years, so look that stuff up. But we know, 22 foot-pounds, do it in a spiral pattern, work yourself out. These dudes at the end are very last, don't even think about them right now. So, 22 foot-pounds, and then 70 degrees, and then 70 degrees. And we'll show you that. So let's get these blasted down, and then we'll start doing angles. All right, so here's where you got one shot, one opportunity. So 70 degrees, right? Now you can't undo this torque spec, so you want to be very precise and mark what you're doing. I like to put it just a dab of paint, or remember, you know, or record it like we're doing right now. All right, so we got our baseline 22, we got our baseline 70 across the board. Now we're gonna hit them again at 70, and then you'll see me bump these top ones at 22. I'm gonna go ahead and time lapse the rest of this crap. We'll jump back when we get to the rockers. Showed up the gear. All right, so what's special about this dude? That is a S916T. You guys seen me use this before, but why this is so special? This is a 4-pole cam sprocket for a 3-bolt cam. Conversion gear, special gear to use a old school style cam like we're using in a newer engine, and you still have your 4 poles for your newer front mount cam sensor versus the old style, which right off the back of the cam like we talked about earlier, right? So now we get to hang this unit on and get our oil pump on and the valley cover and the rest of the tinware. So just for visual sake, I'm gonna draw a paint line here. This is our, you know, our marking point. So what I like to do before I hang one of these chains, and I already did it, but I'll just show you, is I like to, because right now there's no rockers or anything on there, nothing pushing down those lifters, so we can kind of wing the cam over easy. So that's something to take into consideration. So I like to line them up and then turn it. So when we go to slide the cam on, or the sprocket on with the chain, it's gonna line right up. We're not sitting there trying to twist the cam around to get her going, you know? So when you go to hang this unit, now I did compress my tensioner. Just take a pair of pliers gracefully, make sure you got something soft on this side. If you give her a squish, the tensioner elongate and you get a pin in there. I just use an Allen wrench. If you're resetting an old one too, it works. All right, let me grab the bolts real fast. Now that cam will try to push back. All right, we got our bolts started. Got some Loctite on there, and just kind of bring them home with the impact, you know, be graceful. Now if you're doing 3-bolt, 26 foot-pounds. Now your engine should be tight enough to hold these back, but you never know. All right, another thing you noticed, they are point to point. It moved a little bit, obviously, but they are point to point on LS if you're unfamiliar. And then go ahead and we can release our tensioner. And that's how you set up your time. So I went ahead and tossed the old valley cover on. That's pretty straightforward stuff. New bolts, painted her up, made it look fresh. So push rods, rockers, all that stuff. We're not running a crazy spring, so we can still get away with stock rockers and push rods. You know, if we get, you know, double springs, things like that, we should look at like hardened 083 wall, 080 wall, whatever. In this instance, what we're doing, it's gonna be just fine. So, put a little engine assembly lube on the ball of them, drop them in the hole. And always blow through these, check them out, make sure there's no debris. Believe it or not, I seen a brand new one time that had a drill bit broken off inside when they drilled it from the factory. All right, next fun part. You got your rocker rail. That's why you love an LS right there. You got them all in your hand. Get them lined up. I saved you guys all the boring cleaning stuff. All right, run these guys down. And usually if you got spring pressure, you'll want to roll the engine over to get it off that that stroke, you know, on the cam. 22 across the board on the rockers. So finally getting somewhere. I saved you some of the boring stuff, got the valve covers on. We're gonna go ahead and do the oil pump. I'll show you that part and how to kind of set that, because there is a new procedure for doing that through melling. But the guys have their ways, all right? So do as you wish, but I'll show you a trick. We gotta do our windage tray, and we also have to do our oil pan. So I just got a 302-3, the Holley knockoff. The one that's got the 3 steps in it for the most clearance. Hopefully it works in a, you know, early F body. I have no idea. I've never swapped the 68 Camaro, so we're gonna learn together, folks. Another thing I want to show you, this is a 58X tone ring. You see how it's more of a cogged gear, and there's 58 teeth on there. Feel free to count them. 24X is Gen 3. I'll see if I can drop a picture in one of those to see the reference. I'll show you the charts there. So let's get our new oil pan opened up. We'll get the windage tray on, and we'll start hanging this oil pump. So obviously there's teeth on here, there's teeth on there. You want them to line up. So you might have to fuss around for a hot second to get it to line up. But once your pump gears line up, it'll drop right on, just like that. So we're gonna want to put our bolts in loosely, and then what you'll do now, according to melling, is that you want to put oil in it and then rotate it over a couple times, and that'll put a thin coat of oil around the gears, and that'll be your spacing versus taking the front cover off, putting a thou shim all the way around, which is a pain in the ass. Plus, they probably don't want you disturbing this front plate. Just saying. So, let's get our bolts, dump some oil in this unit, and roll her over. Always put a little red Loctite on the old oil pump bolts. And we don't want to send them quite home yet. We want to just get them snug, or close, I should say. All right, 18 it is. Okay, something important you don't see a lot of info on. The windage tray, right? So, LS windage trays, they are directional. This one says rear, some say front, depending what you got. But they don't work with the aftermarket, like 302-2, 300-3 Holly, or the knockoff or whatever. And the reason is, if you look how shallow that sump is. That windage tray gets right in the way right there. So, what you gotta do is you gotta cut off this front section right here. So what we're gonna do is take a grinder and just, all right, so we're gonna go at it somewhere in like this area, kind of right where this little divot is there. So obviously make sure you're far enough away from your brand new engine. But we're gonna go ahead and flap disc it up, clean it up, wire wheel it, polish it up, make it like new, and we'll get it put out. So that's how it's supposed to look. All right, get your O-ring on there. Make sure you put a little lubricant on there. I like to use assembly lube because that's what I got. Now, you want to kind of just work the pickup tube without pushing too hard so you don't want to tear that O-ring. All right, once you fuss with that for 35 minutes and that O-ring seats in there nice, go ahead and put a little dab of Loctite on there and snug these guys down. Well, she's starting to come together. So, I'm trying to find my alignment tool. The alignment tool is to line up the timing cover. Now, I've done it for years without it, but my buddy Brent, he had donated one to the cause. So if you want to see how that works, jump back to where I put a motor in my wife's LS3 Camaro. I show you how to use it there. So right now, I'm not going to tighten it up. I'm going to go ahead and get the oil pan on, but I wanted to mention, make sure you put your little silicone here in your four corners for all your covers. We also use that tool to set up the rear seal, but I'm going to leave them loose right now. I'm going to get the pan on it, so we at least get to see what this thing looks like, all right? Because she is looking fresh. Well, that's what she is. It's all back together. That's how you throw yourself together a, 400 plus-ish, horsepower-ish, 6-liter. So, it's all bolted together. We got our aftermarket pan on. Now, remember, we did not tighten the timing cover. Those are not tight, not yet. I'm gonna find that alignment tool. But for me to get this video out for tomorrow for you guys, that's gonna have to wait. But we'll do the rear main seal and the rear cover when it's on the cherry picker hanging, waiting to go. We taped off all our ports. We got our freshly painted valley cover with new bolts, freshly painted valve covers and timing cover. I don't know if the black's gonna fit the era of that fine hot rod, but I'm not a big Chevy orange fan anyways. Shut up, don't tell anybody. That's just me. But that is clean, my friends. So on that note, with this How Tuesday, I appreciate you tagging along. You had to watch me wash that beautiful 1968 Chevy Camaro vintage hot rod. And you got to watch me assemble its brand new heart. So, on that note, make sure you like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. We'll see you on the next one.